with your thing.
Okay.
Let me sort this out, please.
Yeah. No, okay. I just wanted to make sure we got everything worked out.
I'm not telling any stories, Norman. I'm here as a support.
Yeah. Yes, I understand. And thank you for being here.
Oh, no.
I think your time is a little preoccupied right now.
Okay.
This is what it's preoccupied with.
Okay, shush, everyone, please. Just keep. We're now live. Manuela still isn't co-host. Waleed, can you make Manuela co-host? It's very important. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And tonight, we not only have the magnificent, all the way from Canada, he's rowed over the Atlantic. Well, first of all to here, then down to Marrakesh, overland, and he swam across past Gibraltar into Morocco, and he's landed in the World Storytelling Cafe, where he's brought with him that magnificent quilt that is behind him. And so this is... And he will be telling stories. But hopefully, before he tells the stories, Manuela, are you co-host yet? Are you no?
Not yet.
This is well.
Shall I send David?
Yes, you are now. You are now.
I'm now.
So before, thank you, Wally. Before we have Norman Perrin, we have some film. We're hoping to have her on live, but it's from Gaza, but it's not always possible. So we have film from Gaza, from Hala in Gaza, and if you go to the World Storytelling Cafe, you will see there's a link to. If we go to our site, there's a link for crowdfunding. We are trying at the moment to raise enough money to get Hala and her brothers and sisters out of Gaza and into Egypt.
Here they are.
Into where?
Here they are.
Oh,
Just
are they
joining.
with us?
Yeah.
Right.
I think they got mixed up with the timing.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let's not have conversations. Let's keep it as a show. Right. So, Hala, are we there? Yes. Admit. Everyone. Admit anyone. Right. So, Hala, how are you? Well.
Fine. How are you? Hi.
So, without further ado, I am going to hand over to Hala in Gaza by the miracle of you'll have to excuse it, it's very dark, but I assume there's the fact that we're getting anything from Gaza at all is a small miracle. So we won't hang about at all. I'm going to go straight over to Hala. If you want to tell your story and introduce yourself. You're muted at the moment. Can everyone else mute, please?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Hala Mundir Salim. Today, me and my sister Shada, we want to tell you a story. Okay.
Could I just point out that at the moment Hala's screen is on the side, so if she could switch it so that she's the correct way round, that would be much easier for us to see. Yay, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. This is a story that my grandmother will tell us in an evening when we are getting ready for bed. It's called Sand and Stone. It's one of my favorite stories. Once upon a time, two good friends called Samir and Hassan were crossing the Perrin Desert together. Their journey started out well enough, but the sun was shining fiercely, and as it got hotter and hotter, and they got more and more tired, they started to argue with each other. At first, it was just a small disagreement, But as they continued, they got more and more irritated by the other. They just couldn't agree with each other at all. Their argument became louder and louder until Samir and Hassan were shouting at each other with bright red faces. Suddenly, it was all too much for Samir. He lost control and punched his friend Hassan in his face. Hassan fell the ground and was hurt, but without saying a word, he pulled himself up and with his finger he calmly wrote in the sand, "My best friend hit me the face today." Then Hassan and Samir continued on their way until they reached Hala's houses, where there was a beautiful lake. They were so hot and in need of cooling off, so they decided to bathe in the lake. Samir, the friend who had stuck Hassan, got in the water and had a lovely time. But Hassan got into trouble in the lake, as he wasn't a strong swimmer, and he had not realized how deep it was. He struggled to keep his head above the water, but couldn't manage this. He couldn't breathe and started to sink deeper and deeper into the lake. He thought that he was going to die, but just before he almost drowned, his friend Samir swam over to him, dived down deep into the water, where he saw his friend begin to drown. Using all his strength, Samir managed to pull Hassan up to the surface. Samir saved Hassan. After that, when Hassan had recovered, he endeavored into a rock. "Today, my friend saved my life." Samir was puzzled. "After I hit you, you rolled in the sand. My best friend just hit me. And now I pulled you out of the water you have encountered. Today, my friend saved my life in the rock. So why did you do that? Surely it's easier to write it in the sand, my friend, like you did before." Hassan replied, "When someone hurts us, we have to write it in the sand. Let the wind come and bring forgiveness, because as the wind blows it away and the writing disappears. But when someone does use a favor, helps us, or even saves our life, then we must engrave that in the stone so that it will always remain. Let us learn to write our pain, anger, and sadness in the sand, and engrave kindness and all that is good in stone." It said, "We need a minute to find a special person, an hour to appreciate him or her, and a day to love him or her. But we need all the days of our life to forget him or her." This story is about this story is letting go, organize, and letting go of anger, and it's also about embracing the good and valuing our friends. I want to ask you all a question, and you don't need to tell me the answer. Is there anyone in your life who has done something to ignore you, and instead of writing it in the sand like Hassan did and letting the sand blow it away, you have made the mistake of carving it into stone and holding anger towards them for a long, long time? Perhaps now you have heard my grandmother's story, then you may consider it may be the time to write it in the sand instead and let the winds blow away the thing you wrote down. We all have a choice as to how we live our life. Will you be someone who carves your anger and all bad things into stone where it can stay forever, or will you choose to write it only in the sand and with the good things that happen in your life? Will you crave those things in the rock, or savor them forever, or just write them in the sand and forget about those precious people and acts. Yes.
My name is Shada Salim. I'm 19 years old. I want to tell you a story. It's called It's called The Shepherd and His Sheep. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd who was taking care of his sheep in a beautiful green village. Its residents were famous for their good character, their honesty, their kindness, and helping each other, and generosity to strangers. But this shepherd didn't seem have the same kind of character as the rest of villagers. He loved to deceive and joke, and believed that tricking people was entertaining. One night, while he was guarding the sheep, he was sitting alone and feeling so bored. And during that long night, a trick came to his mind. He wanted to have fun. So, can you guess what he done? Yes, he started shouting and screaming, "People of the village, help me, help me! The wolf is eating my sheep! Help me, help me! The wolf is eating my sheep!" All the residents woke up terrified and went out quickly, carrying sticks and their hands to help the shepherd and save the sheep. As soon as they received the shepherd and the sheep, they found him laughing and telling them, "I tricked you. You fell for it. You must be so stupid. There is no wolf." They told to him, "There is nothing funny about that. You woke us up from our sleep. We were terrified about you and your sheep. Lying is not funny. How can you laugh and enjoy screaming people? It's not kind. Please do not do it again." But the shepherds didn't listen to them and decided to repeat the trick again. And every time, the villagers went to rescue him and his sheep. He did this not just once, not twice, but 3 times. In 3 nights, the villagers were starting to get sick and tired of the shepherds, of the shop, of his trick, and they all agreed that the next night they wouldn't listen to him, no matter how much he shouted. The next night, the shepherd was deep in sleep, and suddenly he woke up to the sound of wolves attacking the sheep. He started screaming and shouting as he had done before, but no one responded to his call. They shouted to him, "You will not deceive us this time. We will not fall for your lies." The shepherd tried to drive the wolf away alone, but unfortunately he couldn't. The wolf ate all the sheep, and the shepherd sat crying alone, feeling remorse from the tricks and the lies, and from the sheep he lost and couldn't protect. This morning, the villagers come to him and found him drowning in the trees, with no sheep around him. They were amazed and asked about what happened. So he had told them, while he was extremely remorseful and sorry for what had happened. They felt sad for the sheep and said to him, "You should have listened to our words and stop lying. We hope that this loss will be a lesson for you. He said to them, I have learned my lesson and lost a lot. I will never lie again. This story tells us about the result and consequence of lying. It is not okay to lie, whatever the purpose. No one will trust us as long as you are a liar.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to tell another story. This story is about an old man and young man. It said that an old man was once sitting on a train with his 25-year-old son. A lot of joy appeared on the face of the young man who was sitting next to the window. He took his hand out the window and felt the air pass and shouted, Dad, do you see all these trees walking behind us? The old man smiled in line with his son's joy. Next to them, there was a couple listening to the conversation going into between the father and his son. They felt a little embarrassed. How could a young man at this age act like a child? Suddenly, the young man shouted again, Dad, Dad, look at the pond and the animals in it. Look at the clouds, how they move with the train. The couple continued to be amazed of the young man's conversation again. Then it started to rain, and drops of water fell on the young man's hand, whose face was filled with happiness. And he shouted again, Dad, Dad, it's raining. And the water touched my hand. Look, Dad. At this moment, the couple could not remain silent any longer. And they asked the old man, why don't you visit the doctor and get treatment for your son? Here the old man said, thank you for your concern, but we have just left the hospital where my son had an operation of his eyes. My son is now able to see for the first time in his life. So, dear listeners, always remember, don't make judgments and don't draw conclusions until you know all the facts.
Thank you, Hala. Now I will tell you another story. Once upon a time, there was a bird flying high in the sky. What kind of bird was it? Yeah, it was a crow. It was able to fly from miles and miles. Beneath it were large green forests that seemed to stretch across the land forever. The crow traveled long distance, soaring and soaring across the sky. He looked at the beautiful luscious forest below him. After a long journey in the sky, the heat of the sun made the crow feel extremely thirsty. He looked down at the forest, looking for water to drink. He finally decided to land amongst the trees and continue to look around on the ground. He searched and searched, and suddenly he saw something shining in a long distance. He flew towards it, and he approached it. He saw that it was a tall and slimy glass with water in the bottom. He tried to drink from it, but his short beak couldn't reach the water. He tried to think of a solution. Thinking and thinking. He was starting to feel very, very tired, as well as very, very thirsty, and realized that he wouldn't have the strength to fly to another place to search for water. But he was determined, and he wouldn't give up. So, as you probably know, crows are part of the corvid family, not the disease. And they are the cleverest of the birds. So, Suddenly, he had an idea. There were many small stones and seeds tracked on the forest floor. So he pushed all the stones and seeds with his little beak, stone by stone, seed by seed. He moved them over to the tall container. Even so, he was tired and thirsty and felt like just wanted to rest. He persevered. Then, the stone by stone and seed by seed, he picked each one up and plopped them one by one all into the container. He was determined to survive. And so, even though he was exhausted and every stone and seed seemed heavier than the last one, he carried on. Little by little, the water rose to the top of the container, and he could now reach the water with his beak and drink easily. So he did just do that. He drank and drank until he quenched his thirst. Finally, we learn from this story that with determination and perseverance, we can get what we want and achieve success. So you and your family and neighbor have been learning this lesson the hard way, but inshallah, you will achieve success too.
And I want to tell you the last story for this night. It's the story that my grandmother told me. It's a story called Milk is for Milk and Water is for Water. It's about the value of feeling unhappy with what you have, as well as about the value of honesty. Once upon a time, in a small village in the foothills of Gaza, it's said that there was once a man who sold milk, and he was a good man, only selling the best kind of milk, the pure, fresh, and unadulterated kind of milk. He had many customers because his milk was so good. One day, the milkman noticed that there were other men in his village who were far wealthier than himself. There were men who wore finer clothes and men who had a donkey or a cart, or even some who had both. The milkman started to feel unhappy with what he had. So he decided he needed to make more money. In fact, he decided that he deserved to make more money. He wanted to increase his profits. So can you guess what he did? Okay. He mixed half of the milk with water from the river. Yes, instead of using just pure good milk, he used half good milk and half river water. As usual, he went to the market and sold the milk. His customers didn't realize that the milk was watered down because they have been buying milk from him for a very long time. They trust him. So the milkman counted up all the money he had earned that day and found, guess what he found? Can you guess? To his joy, he found that he had earned double of his usual profit. He was very, very happy. And on his way back home, he was exhausted. So he decided to rest for a while by a river under the shade of a tree. However, unlikely for him, a clever but cheeky little monkey came down from the tree, and can you guess what he did? Yes, that cheeky little monkey stole the bag of money. The milkman screamed and he shouted, but the monkey would not return the bag. With monkey to return the bag of money. Finally, the clever little bag and 2 coins. He tossed one coin over to the seller, and a second coin he threw it into the river. He continued to do so until the bag was totally empty. Then the seller collected up all the money the monkey tossed to him. He was surprised when he counted up all the coins that the money was equal to the price of pure milk, which hadn't been watered down. He laughed and said, "Milk is for milk, and water is for water." And from that day, he decided not to mix milk with water. So his saying and the lesson he learned on that day has been passed down through the generations. And now we tell this story. Thank you for listening to my story, and be careful to look out for that cheeky little monkey if ever you feel unhappy and try to earn more money through dishonest means.
Thank you, Hala, and thank you, Shata. Now, if people can put on, if someone can put on the Facebook chat when this is the link for the fundraising, where we're trying to get it's wonderful that you've managed to do this tonight. And I know yesterday the bombs were falling next door, but more than that, Shata, in the summer became second in the whole of Palestine in her science exams, and has been accepted into a university in Egypt if she can get there. And not only her, we need the whole family. Dad's staying behind, but the whole family, we need to get them out. So there's a crowdfunding link on our site. There's a funding link on Facebook. If you can't find it, if you go on to the World Storytelling Cafe community page on Facebook and look up to where we're talking about Norman Perrin, I put a link on there. I'm hoping the sisters will be next Wednesday, if you can get internet at 7:00 in the evening, UK time. There's an open mic thing. Well, you won't get a huge amount of time, but you get 5 or 10 minutes on that. The more we can get you on, the more people will know about you. I think one huge round of applause for the sisters.
Thank you. My little sister Rahaf wanted to tell you about a Palestinian poem.
Please do. Let's have the little sister on.
Come Rahaf. Hi, I'm Rahaf. Yeah.
Then we'll go to...
I'm Rahaf. Yes. If one day a people deserve to live, then fate will answer their call, and their night will then begin to fade, and their chains break to fail and fall. In Arabic, إذا الشعب يوما أراد الحياة فلا بد أن يستجيب القدر ولا بد لليل أن ينجلي ولا بد للقيد أن ينكسر.
Wonderful. Now,
John, can I just say something quickly? Hala and Shata, it's David Heathfield here. I'm not sure, Hala and Shata, maybe they cannot see us. So can we just each of us just say hello? Because
yes, if we can do that, David, but we do have to get on with the program.
But Hala doesn't know who's here listening. It'd be lovely.
Yes, well, let's start from Manuela. Say hello.
Hi, Hala. Hi, Shada. That was wonderful. Well done.
Mike Fasti, say hello.
Hello, girls. That was absolutely fabulous. Thank you for that.
Mechild, please say hello.
Hello. That was great, girls. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Jackie Ross, please say hello.
Hello, girls. Thank you very much for your stories. That's been lovely.
Baba C, this may be the shortest you've ever spoken. Please say hello. Yeah, he's probably gone. He has to be at 2 meetings. Despina, please say hello. Despina.
Hello, girls. Thank you for the stories and the poem. I loved them all.
So Lucy, please say hello.
Hi, girls. That was really beautiful. And we're all going to take away the beautiful morals of all your stories. Thank you. That was really, really beautiful.
Rona, please say hello. Rona, you're muted. Okay. So, and we have Nicholas, who's just joined us. Go to catch up and catch the beautiful stories that Hala has just done. But
I was just watching you on Facebook and I wanted to join you. Thank you so much. We're grateful to hear you.
Fantastic. Now, have I missed anyone? Is David still?
Shatha, I've got to say that probably was the most beautiful, moving, formidable storytelling performance by you both that I have ever experienced. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly wonderful young people and delightful storytellers. I love your spirit.
Thank you.
And everything David just said. So one more round of applause. And then we go on to our second guest for tonight, who has been patiently waiting in the wings and listening. Norman, would you like to say anything to Hala and Sasa before you start?
First of all, I would like to say, Hala and Shala, thank you for your stories. And I would just add one wee bit to the names. The stories, the people are from everywhere: Canada, United Kingdom, United States, Greece, and United Kingdom, and Scotland. So
and Germany and Morocco.
And Germany and Morocco. Thank you for filling.
Italy.
And Baba C, you're back with us. So would you like to just say hello to Hala and Shasa? Not a speech, just a hello.
You're muted.
You're muted, Baba C. You're muted. Okay.
I know. I was having a little technical issue. I was listening because I was in a meeting and listening, and I wanted to thank you for your stories and your courage and your strength. And I know people have been thanking you for your strength, but thank you. You are inspiration. So thank you very, very much. And I look forward to what I didn't hear on the playback. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Can everybody share this on Facebook?
Okay.
So thank you, Sasha. Thank you. Thank you, Hala. No, I'm passing across to Norman because he has been waiting. He prepared a whole program for tonight, but it's a special occasion, and it's very special having you two sisters on here, or three sisters on here. It's been very special night. Thank you very much. Norman, over to you.
Thank you. And that program has been shifting as I hear each story. So there'll be 3 short stories from the Hujjah and 1 long story called Fire on the Mountain. And David, keep that flame going, please. I just saw that. Well, Hujjah was seeing a gentleman, and the gentleman had a donkey, and the donkey had lots of books. And the fellow said, I am a learned man. He says, yeah. But I said, tell me something special. Or the fellow said, no, the information is on the donkey. And I said, I don't read the books. Oh, well, I guess Nazaddin said, you can load a donkey with books, but you can't make him smart. And one day, that fellow bought the donkey, or Nazaddin bought a donkey. And the donkey worked very hard, but it cost a lot of money to feed it. And so he decided, oh, what I can do is I'll take one handful of hay out and see how things go. And so he took one handful of hay, donkey ate, and he kept on pulling the cart just as well as he did before. And to make a long story short, and a short story merry, day by day by day, donkey got less and less hay to eat, until at last Nasruddin was down to one small handful of hay. And he took it over to the donkey. He gave it to the donkey, and sad to say, the donkey fell over dead. "Isn't that terrible?" said Nasruddin. "Here I had the donkey down to one handful of hay. Tomorrow I would have had him down to eating absolutely nothing." And that was inspired by the milk and water story. And this has been a popular story, so I'm going to throw it in. Nasruddin is sitting by the edge of the river, enjoying a nice cup of mint tea. And the fellow on the other side, he says, "I've been looking for a bridge, and I can't find one. How do I get to the other side of this river?" And Nasruddin looked across the river. He says, "My friend, I can't help you. You already are on the other side of the river." It's an old one, but still good. Once there was a young man in the land of Ethiopia. And as can happen, times became hard. The rains did not fall, the crops did not grow. And as young men have done since time began, they set out from their homeland, to try and find a better life elsewhere. He was traveling along, and he came to a place where the rain fell, and the land was good, and there's many farms. And so he took work on a farm, and he was very happy to be there. There's a nearby town, there was an old merchant who was from the land of Ethiopia, and they too became friends, and they traded stories in that cafe with each other, and they shared those stories with the mint tea that they drank with the other people. And that is how the stories always travel, over a nice cup of hot tea and good company. And so it would seem that the young man would do well, for he was able to send money back to his family. But one day, as he was working in the field, a swing of the hoe, and he injured his foot, and he was not able to work. And what's worse, the cut became infected, and he could not work at all. But the farmer kept him on, and until he got better. But he still charged him rent for living on the farm. And so he started to go into debt. And he was still sending money back to his family, and he went into debt even further and further into debt. And the foot was healing very slowly. And suddenly the young man realized that his debt would never be paid. He would be indentured to the farmer for the rest of his days. His foot was better, but he had such a great debt that he would never be able to pay it off. But he had one hope, and it's a strange hope. It's this: you see, the farmer had always mused, on that mountain over there, I wonder if somebody could live on top of that mountain without any clothing, without any fire, and still survive. I've wondered if somebody would be strong enough and brave enough, and under his breath he said stupid enough, to take on this wager. Well, 2 young men have gone up that mountain, and their graves are at the bottom of that mountain. But still I wonder, do you think somebody could do that and live? For such a person who could do that, I would forgive them their debts, and I would give them some land besides. And he said that loud enough for the young man to hear. And the young man took these words and he pondered them. And he knew how dangerous it was. And each day he walked past those two graves at the bottom of that mountain. But finally, he couldn't take it anymore. He went to his friend in the village and into the town, the merchant, and he sat down with another cups of tea, but he didn't speak. But the merchant said, "Why are you? I see that there is something on your mind." And the young man told him about the farmer and the wager and the mountain and whether or not they could live through the night without fire and without clothing. And he told him about the two graves at the bottom of the mountain. And the merchant listened to this. He knew that story, but he waited until the young man had finished. And then the young man said a few last words, and he said, "Tonight I'm going to go back to the farm. Tonight I will take the farmer up on his wager, and tomorrow morning, one way or another, I will come down that mountain a free man." And the merchant was silent for a while, and then finally he spoke. "Do not speak so quickly of dying, my young friend. I've been thinking about what you've just told me, and I think there may be something I can do for you. There is another mountain several miles distant. I will go up that mountain with a load of wood. I will load my donkey with that wood. We will go to the bottom of that mountain and go up. And although it will be hard, I will get the wood up that mountain and I will start a fire. It'll be so far away it will not warm you, but you will see the light that it gives. And as long as you see that light, remember this, that I will be tending that fire for you. And remember this, as long as you see that fire, remember this, that there is somebody who knows you, cares for you, and loves you. And perhaps that will be enough to get you through the night." When the merchant had finished this, young man was suddenly filled with something that he hadn't had before. He had hope, and hope is a flame that burns always. He thanked his friend. He went back to the farmer. He said, "I will take this wager." "Another fool," said the farmer. "Very well. Tonight you will go up the mountain with two servants, and they will take your robe away from you, and we will see in the morning what we shall see." And so, with two servants, the young man went to the bottom of the mountain. He walked past the two graves, and then went to the top of the mountain, and the two servants took away his robe, the only clothing he had, and wrapping it around their arms, he went down the mountain, and the young man waited while the darkness fell. It was cold, the wind blew, and it got colder and colder as one by one the stars came up. And although there's stars everywhere, they give off no heat and no warmth. But there's one star he was looking for in the distance, the far-off mountain where his friend was to build a fire. And at first he saw only darkness, and then suddenly there was a flicker of light. His friend had kept his promise. And all that night, though he suffered horribly, the wind blowing, he shivered, he jumped up and down, he clapped his arms around, but all that night he feasted his eyes upon that far distant flame, remembering the words that the friend had given him. Keep your eyes on that light, and perhaps remember that there is somebody who loves you and cares for you, and that will get you through the long, cold night. And what you know, it worked. Finally, in the east, the sun, the sky turned that beautiful royal blue, And then the first sun peeked over the horizon, and the first I have myself felt that golden light of the first light, and it is like a blessing from the sun. And so when the two servants went up with the robe, expecting it to be yet again another shroud, they found him more dead than alive, but alive. And they wrapped the robe around him, and stumbling, they took him down the mountain and back to where it was warm with a warm drink. And the farmer was as good as his word. He forgave the debt. He gave some land to the young man. And the young man took the land and he worked it for his own farm. And he prospered. He did well. And he was everyone who came to his door, they were always welcome. None went away hungry. None went away thirsty. And may we meet in our lives with such generosity as the young man on the fire on the mountain. And that's my story for you.
Norman, that was wonderful. And that is a wonderful story for tonight.
We need a few fires on the mountain.
We need fires on the mountain.
And we have a place where you can feed the fire, where the put in a shekel or a drachma or a pound or a dollar, whatever. It takes it all and converts it into help. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. And before I announce what's coming up, there are 3 people on the screen that have actually, or 4, in fact, with Waleed, because this would not be possible without the efforts of David Heathfield, Manuela Kelly, and Lucy Anderson Wood, because you kept the flame burning. Friday, we've got our Friday teller is Mike Fashty. I might wait as well, take some of your time if there's a bit of palace, if there's we're trying to get as much from Gaza as possible. Wednesday is 7 o'clock. Mike says as usual 6 o'clock, but Tales and Tunes, which is a sort of open mic for storytelling and music, is Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and I hope that Hala can be there and Sasha, but if not, Manuela has Phil. So we always have this as a backup, because it's a miracle that we can be live from Gaza. So that's what's coming up. Once more, another round of applause for the girls, for the sisters, and we hope to see them in better times.
Thank you, Hala. Thank you, Shatha. Thank you for your sister. Thank you for best wishes to all of your family.
And thank you, Waleed, for keeping it all going, making it all work. Okay, well, good night. And
thank you, John. Thank you, John, for making this possible as well, for being flexible and for curating everything so that it was possible at such short notice. And thank you, Norman, for being so gracious as to move around your session to accommodate Hala and Shatha. That's been really generous and kind-hearted. So
you're always welcome. This is in my heart what storytelling is all about. It's meant to move around and shape, and one of the most wonderful story sessions happened to be in Essaouira in Morocco, where people just moved onto the stage, told a story, moved out, and in that space another story came. And yeah, thank you for
It's
this
who we are.
wonderful.
Where the
And if I
girls?
may quickly get a word in edgewise, pun intended. This community is very special. we reach and touch more people than we may give ourselves credit for. And I just want to say that today's storytelling session is extra special, but we really do reach and touch a lot of people. And this community has helped me keep going as well. It's not about me, but I just want to throw that in there.
And while you're still here, Hala, or Sasha, do you want to say a final few words? If you can unmute.
I want to say that thank you for supporting us.
Oh.
Thank you for supporting us, if you can hear me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on. It's been a privilege. Good night, everyone. And thank you, Waleed, as always, for flying the magic carpet, which has been difficult to steer tonight, I must admit. But you've done a great job. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Thank you, Waleed. Great job, Norman, ladies. Get well soon, Destina. Good seeing you, David. Always great to hear and see from you, Lucy.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really lovely. Babasi, your audio is different to how it normally is. It sounds a bit funny. I don't know if
Yeah, it's I have two pieces of equipment battling for who's going to broadcast. But I'll get those things about next time.
Right. Okay. I get it. Yeah. Good. Anyway, I think we could hear you make it out. That's good. Thank you for your words of encouragement for the girls as well. They're really sweet, sweet girls. That's incredible. I just hope they get out. Yeah. You're looking very well, by the way. You're looking very healthy. You've lost a lot of weight, haven't you?
I've lost some weight, working on losing some more, but thank you. And I had a big incident, so I had to trim my beard down, had to get rid of the sidebar. But yeah, and someone stroked my ego the other day. He came out and said, "Ooh, I like what you did with your beard. Makes you look handsome and sexy." And of course, my ego went 7'2". So
yeah, is that possible for it to get any bigger?
Oh yes, yes.
I thought your ego was at maximum size already. I thought if you got any bigger, you wouldn't be able to go through doors.
Well, no, I turned sideways.
Oh, well, that explains it. I understand now. Of course, you'd be able to do that.
Yeah. And by the way, I can't wait to get back to Marrakesh. I missed both of the Riyadh. You know, I missed Star and I missed Fight, and I can't wait to get back. So
you're going to have to. Well, I hope it's going to be.
Thank you for the compliment, because I feel better.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm hoping it's going to be January 2025 for the International Festival.
Right.
Yeah. Let's hope. Yeah.
I got to get working on it and get my angels to help me get there. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell Mike I said hey.
Yeah, will do. All right. See you.
And give my regards to the staff at both of the Riyadh.
Oh yeah, I will do. Yeah, no, I will do. Yeah, no, wherever you go, you're never forgotten.
That could be a good thing.
It's a good thing, believe me.
Yeah, I really. Yeah,
that's good.
I tell people I have two homes, Marrakesh and Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again, even though it's I don't know how many months it is. It's quite a number of months away, but it will come. It will. Oh, John Rowe's calling me. I better go.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
See you.
Stay well.
Bye.
Stay wonderful. Stay you.